come to Cambridge with the appropriate drizzle.
Boom! 2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1, that's 3, quick maths.
Right, that will be my office for the next 2 weeks. I'm really honored and excited to be here to have the opportunity, and I'm staying with Tim, a retired mathematician, was working on crystals, lattices and stuff. So the last 2 nights or so I didn't really sleep well at all because I was so stressed about still getting this talk together that I have to give in like 3 hours or so. Well, I hope that it's not going to be as short again as the other math talk that I gave in Arizona, where I gave like a 40-minute talk in what should be 50 minutes. Otherwise I'm okay, and looking forward to being in this very academic environment again. Yeah, now I have to find Luca, who invited me to be here in Israel, so that he can explain to me a little bit more about what's going on and how the collaboration is going to happen. Well, as expected, it was a little bit rough, but there were only 4 people or so, or 5 in the audience. I was not too nervous, so that was okay. But I messed it up a little bit because I overshot in that I added too much in the beginning and then I didn't have enough time to rush through the end, which is where I put the most interesting stuff. So now I don't know whether people really got me, like what I really want to do. The point is, to collaborate with mathematicians to solve some cool, interesting cross-disciplinary problem. And yeah, I really want to find out what the ants are doing, but if the mathematicians don't understand me because I don't give a clear enough talk, this is kind of a problem. It leads to just frustration. So I still have 2 weeks here, and Luca, who invited me, and one of his students, I think, they both are really interested in collaborating and doing something with the data that I have and the ideas. And in those 2 weeks, yeah, we can maybe start on a real good collaboration and get to know what each other want and work towards a common goal.
Hop out the 4-door with the 440, it was 1, 2, 3 and 4. Us man, chilling in the corridor. Yo, your dad is 44.
I just got groceries after I haven't had lunch, and I'm not sure whether I will have the time today anyway. This is a beautiful path through a little bit of the wilderness. It takes 25 minutes one way, so yeah, that's the exercise of today. Something I realized in the talk was that I became a little bit tense at some point, until I got asked a question. And then I felt my body completely relaxing and, leaning on the orator's desk, whatever it's called. I was having a conversation and I was speaking without pressure to perform. That was really interesting, so maybe I will incorporate that next time I'm giving a talk and ask a question or something, I don't know. It's raining, 6 degrees, which is about 10 degrees warmer than in Germany. That is the result of the first time meeting and actually talking in depth about what we are trying to do, what we want to do with Luca. For just half an hour or so we kind of brainstormed what the model could be, what it should look like and what the end product might be. And he said, with these collaborations between mathematicians or physicists and biologists, you start at something and then you have different fingers on the hand. When one thing doesn't quite work out, then you still give the project another purpose, and then you go into that direction, which sounds like a recipe for not arriving anywhere, in my experience, but I'm still kind of hopeful. Still need to finish the 3rd and 4th chapter, where I'm pretty close actually, so I would love to do that, to get that off my plate, out of my mind. But now I'm thinking I should devote my whole days for modeling what we are discussing here. The communication with the collaborators, that's a really nice atmosphere in this prestigious uni. It's already Friday, like half of the time is already done. And I guess it is time to explain a little bit what it is actually that I want to do here. That is, as you can see, the meanders in the background of the first chapter of my PhD thesis. It left a lot of questions open as to how they do this, like how they move left and right so that they don't intersect their own trail for a while at least. What is the mechanism, the algorithm that the ants are following? Luca said that there was someone else here a few weeks ago who was talking about rotating bacteria and stuff like that, and he made a mathematical analysis of that. So he wanted to model our ants in that kind of framework. Yeah, this is what he just made, instructions to follow, to implement into code. And it turns out that it is really similar to what I have already done before, like a year or two ago. It produces the same thing, but in slightly different implementation. So basically, how does an ant decide when she's like here that she needs to turn around, and then how far to turn around back so that she doesn't overshoot? And then there's also this, sometimes the fractal nature of the meanders, where meanders are layered on top of a general direction that the ant is wanting to go into, and then this general direction also meanders around that other greater direction in general that she wants to go. So that's all intriguing, and it would be great to have an algorithm that tells us exactly, and then be able to assess the efficiency of the area coverage so that we can possibly learn something or implement some of that into search robot swarms, which would be a few years down the line, I think. Today, on Monday, I decided that I should go to a tour of the town so that I know where I am and I get some historical background. I worked the whole day yesterday and actually also Saturday. So today is my only half day off work, and I'm using that to take the college walking tour. Some people here do look like they are in a Harry Potter movie.
Pioneer of evolution, and you had later on his grandson.
Alright, I'm walking back from the tour, and it was again really interesting and quite different from standard history walking tour, because the way that University of Cambridge works is that there are colleges which are pretty much like the houses in Harry Potter, and they are or were being founded by different kings and queens and bishops and stuff like that. So the students are affiliated with a college, and they sometimes live there on the premises, and they have kind of study sessions where they meet once a week with their faculty or postdoc, and they go over like study material and stuff like that, and then they go study in the faculties like usual. Back in the days, the different colleges had different focuses, like law and medicine and stuff like that, but today that's less the case.
I'm Harry Potter.
Listen. I really enjoyed learning about all the people, also the famous people and all the Nobel Prize winners that were there. For example, our second to last stop was the Cavendish Laboratories, where 30 Nobel Prizes were being prepared, I guess. So the discoveries for these were made, like the discovery of the double helix and the electron and the neutron. Kind of crazy. Of course, I'm imagining what would have been like if I was admitted to a university like this, but Stanford was close enough for that internship there. Yeah, it's really made me think of Harry Potter a lot. Okay, so this morning I'm pretty excited because while I was basically waiting for Luca to get back to me with further mathematical instructions of how to code things up, I started making another model of the ant meandering with rules that I kind of think that might be what the ants are also following. And this is also a little bit following my own intuition of what I would do if I was searching in a field for something and well, that is very similar to what the ants are searching for. And I came up with this. And that is the closest that I ever got with producing tracks that look very similar to what the ants are doing through the ant tracks. The curves are a little bit too round, but otherwise I would not be able to differentiate whether this is an ant track or a simulated track. And so the way that I did this is by assuming that the ant has here in red a mid direction that she generally wants to go in. So if this is the nest, then she wants to go somewhere in that direction. Around that middle direction, the ant turns into one direction, let's say to the left. She always turns to the left with somewhat the same turn angle with a little bit of noise until she hits threshold. For example, if she hits this threshold here, so if this angle is here 70 degrees and she hits it, then she inverts the turn direction, so this time to the right. Which means that now, she turns to the right until she hits the threshold angle on the other side again. And so that goes back and forth. Then this midline, the red one, is also changed with the same exact rule. So when this middle direction also has a middle direction around which it meanders. So this is the fractal self-similar mechanism that I thought might be actually what's going on inside the brain of the ant. Self-similarity, recursiveness is widespread in nature, and so I thought, why not here as well? And see, it recreates the tracks reasonably well. Now I just need to add a little bit of another greater scale. Maybe recreating the kind of shark fin patterns that happens often, where ants are doing this, then going further. I'm not sure yet what would reproduce this. The second thing to do is putting this to the test. How efficient is that versus like a random walk or systematic strategies? Maybe we can show that this is more robust to noise while also giving you a really good area coverage of a finite space. We'll see. So now I'm going to go get groceries and we'll have lunch. I don't know, I feel like relaxing a little bit for the rest of the day. But I also want to be productive, so I'll just add a few more bits and pieces to that model, and I'll write another email to a potential postdoc advisor. Seems like a good thing to do. Okay, while I am, for some unknown reason, fairly tired today, I am trying to implement the largest scale basically of the ant tracks where they're going out from the nest or the origin and then turning around somehow at some point back to the nest again. This is the fourth layer of meandering. It's meanders all the way down. I ran into this problem that sometimes the turn angles of the different scales add up into the same direction, so the ant goes in circles at least a few times. I'll have to figure something out for that. Okay, so I think I know what's going wrong, and that is that so those loops only occur into the left direction. That is because in my coordinate system, to the east is 0 degrees, to the west is 180, or minus 180 degrees. So when the ant is heading away from the mean direction that she actually wants to go in the long term, into this direction, then I think there's some noise or something, and it nudges her over to this direction. Then she doesn't turn away in this direction, but she closes the loop. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but I just realized that it is kind of similar to the rattle of a rattlesnake. That has a lot of cones, a lot of angles that add up. So now I got a code in that the ant does not flip over from plus to minus. All right, let's test this. Oh yes, that looks good. I solved that problem. Now I just need to add like 1 or 2 more things. I think that I'm pretty much done. Wow.